No, absolutely not. The way it goes is 6 months of winter, a month and a half of spring, 3 months of unbearable heat and humidity, a month and a half of autumn. That's how this shit works in Michigan. Because I swear, the most prominent seasons in Michigan are in fact winter and summer. Like, bitches around here make a big deal about fall, but it only lasts like a month and a half. Spring is virtually non-existent. It just rains and is nasty. And it's funny that you bring up road construction because here's the thing. Y'all will complain that the roads are shit, and then complain that they're fixing the shit roads. Pick one. Do you want to deal with road construction and have good roads, or do you want to get an alignment on your car every year? Pick one.
This is going to sound weird, but do you have any cool scars that you would show me and tell me the story of how you got them?
So I don't necessarily have any scars that have any cool stories behind them. I do have one between my eyes here that I like to talk about, but the problem is that it is so faint that you can barely even see it. And that is the time that I face planted while I was going swimming while wearing goggles, and it tore a chunk out of my nose. No. The scar that everybody asks me about is actually numerous scars that cover my arms and my legs. Just to give you guys an idea about what I'm talking about. For context, I live in the middle of nowhere, Michigan. Growing up, I lived out in the country, in the woods, with swamps that had a lot of mosquitoes. I'm willing to bet like 65% of the scars that are on my arms and my legs are strictly from mosquito bites. I react horribly whenever I'm bitten, and I cannot stop myself from scratching. It would get so bad when I was a kid that people actually asked me if I had chickenpox. Nope, never had chickenpox, had a bunch of mosquitoes that just absolutely loved my blood, absolutely. Now note how I said that roughly 65% of those scars are from mosquito bites. That's because I'm willing to bet the rest of that are from fleas. Once again, middle of nowhere country life, we had dogs and cats, and when I lived with my roommates a few years ago, we at one point had 11 cats, and I think 2 dogs living with us. And there were a couple of times where we had flea infestations, like really bad. And just like with the mosquitoes, every time a flea would bite me, I would itch uncontrollably. Since moving into town and away from dense patches of woods, I have had to deal with less mosquitoes and absolutely no fleas at all whatsoever. So, new bites are very rare. But yeah, that's a rough one, explaining to new people that I meet why my legs are so chewed up. It is because I am the mosquito's chew toy.
Whenever it snows for the first time, everyone fucking loses their goddamn mind.
As a Michigander myself, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. However, here's another spin on that. It's not that people forget how to drive when the snow first starts flying in Michigan. It's that they develop this mentality of, oh, my vehicle can handle it. No, it can't. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you drive. No, it can't. Unless you are the truck that literally plows and salts the roads. No, it can't. Never just assume that you can. I drive a 2006 Chevy Impala. It's got good tires, and it has managed to get itself out of a ditch on numerous occasions. Still, that doesn't mean you're going to catch me doing 60 in a 55 when snow has just fallen. And as I work third shift, there are a lot of factors that I have to consider. Did it snow earlier in the day, and did it melt? Because if it did, that means that could potentially mean that there's water on the road that has frozen and turned into black ice. In other words, I'm going to need to slow the fuck down when I go into work. Did it snow earlier in the day, melt as a result, thus resulting in black ice? And has it continued to snow throughout the late afternoon and early evening as I am waking up and preparing to go to work? If the answer is yes, I am going to have to warm up my car and leave early because it's probably slippery out. The other day I was working in a location that normally takes me about 18 to 20 minutes to get to when the roads are clear. However, earlier in the day while I was asleep, all of the above happened. This meant that I left my house a half an hour earlier than when I usually leave for that job so that I could properly warm up my car and so that I could take my time getting there. I was doing 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour max the entire way. And these are roads that are normally like 45, 55 mile an hour zones. I drive like a grandma in the winter because taking it nice and easy and slow is better than ending up in a ditch or worse, in the grill of another car. Slow down. Otherwise, don't bitch and complain when your vehicle slides off the road and ends up in a ditch. Or worse, you are the cause of a pileup. Winter is here. Drive safe and be careful.
What the hell that is? Is it a lynx? What is that?
Definitely not a domestic cat.
Survey says bobcat. The main way you can tell between a bobcat and a lynx is that bobcats have shorter legs and they have white banding around the tail. Lynxes tend to be a little bit more gray rather than brown like that cat was. They have longer legs and they just have black on the tail. They don't have the banding. And I totally get where you guys are coming from. I totally wanted to cuddle the bobcat too. On an unrelated note, did you know my cat Loki is actually part lynx? Yes, this little guy's great-great-grandfather was a lynx. Well, a great-great-grandparent. We don't exactly know which parent was the lynx and how in the hell that came about. And you would never guess just by looking at him. Like, he is so snuggly. Like, the friendliest cat you'll ever meet.
Die, bitch. Die, bitch.
That isn't Raid. I repeat, that is not a bottle of Raid. That man is trying to fight a war against a spider with disinfectant spray. Put the disinfectant spray down and grab a bottle of damn Raid. Oh my god. As the numerous comments in that video stated, I'd hate to be the janitor at that school. I mean, kudos to the kids for having fun, I guess. But, yeah, I pity the janitors that have to deal with that. For those who don't know, I used to be a janitor. And, yeah, if one of the schools I worked at happened to do something like that, I don't know if I would have been able to keep myself from quitting. There's a lot of things about the janitorial staff that kids don't realize because they don't know. Number one, the janitorial staff pretty much works year-round. The students and the teachers get summer break and spring break and winter break, not the janitorial staff. We get weekends, and that's pretty much it. Number two, the janitorial staff is pretty much in charge of getting the school back into tip-top shape as best as they can every single day. As the saying usually goes, it doesn't matter if there are students in the building or not, there is always something that needs to be done. And judging from the amount of paper that fell down that stairwell, that probably took a good 2 or 3 hours out of the cleaning staff's schedule. Number three, at every single building I've worked at least, the janitorial staff is critically understaffed and detrimentally underpaid. At least in Michigan and prior to the pandemic, you were lucky if you got paid $13 an hour to do that job. I still chat with some of my work buddies from one of my previous janitorial jobs, and they informed me that they just a couple months ago got bumped up to $14 an hour. From 11. Some days that's still not enough to do that fucking job. Which brings me to my final point. Pretty much half, if not the entire janitorial staff, is one breath away from just quitting altogether. As a janitor, whenever we got a new hire, I would always say, if they make it past 2 months, then there's a chance they'll stay. Because the janitors that do stay, from what I've seen, they don't do it for the company they work for. They couldn't care less about the company that they work for. They don't even do it for the teachers. They do it for those kids. But I'm pretty sure if that were to happen at any of the schools I worked at, you would see the entire janitorial staff just walk out, just be like, I'm done, I'm tapping out. This is bullshit. Especially second shift. Second shift, you would hear every curse word under the moon. You want to know some of the weird things that crossed my mind at 3 o'clock in the morning? If God wanted me to be a woman, and to be fruitful and go forth and multiply, then he should have never created me with a fucked up uterus that causes me to menstruate once every 3 to 4 months. If God wanted me to be a woman and to be fruitful and go forth and multiply, then he would have made my uterus menstruate once a month on the dot like it's supposed to. Therefore, God should have absolutely no problem with me being trans because my womb is very much like a wasteland anyway. Otherwise, what other purpose does my existence serve? Just to be a little bit of eye candy for the boys? Well, behold, boys! I am the man-woman of your dreams. The way I read this shows just how morbid my sense of humor has become. I looked at this comment and read it as, death is just sleeping with benefits. I don't know to what extent that speaks of my mental state, but it reinforces the statement that I made in the TikTok. This comment is from, I need to seek professional help for a completely different reason. Just so we're clear, this is not a cry for help. I do not want to unalive myself, but sometimes my sense of humor might suggest that. Alright, let's do this. What we doing in 2022? Over my dead body, meat is life. You will never get me to eat my greens. No.
What's your name? What? What is your name? Tony. Fuck you, Tony. What's your name? Ezekiel. Fuck you, Ezekiel. Fuck you. Fuck you. Hey, you know what I did last night? You better not break my mother into this. You know what I did? You better not. I put that fly over there. Oh. And I fucked your mother next to it. Fuck you, Ezekiel. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Well, here's something I didn't know I needed to know about myself. What type of bagel am I? Excuse you? Excuse you? I'm taking that as an insult.
Why don't human beings eat grass? It's everywhere. There's an abundance of it.
I actually have an answer for this one. Number one, plain and simple, it has absolutely no nutritional value to humans. For the human digestive system, it is very difficult to digest, and therefore we get absolutely little to no nutrition from it, so eating grass would be pointless. The second reason, it's actually bad for our teeth. Grass contains silica, which is a material that's actually strong enough to wear away at our teeth. And enough of that, and eventually you don't have enough enamel to actually protect the softer parts of your teeth from bacteria and stuff. I do not know why I bothered to learn this information, other than to provide an answer when somebody asks about it.
Okay, forget cats. The thing that I really look for if I want to know how lonely someone is how many coffee mugs they have. Like, if you don't have any or you only have one, you're probably pretty lonely. If you have more than that, then you just really need a hug.
So, this week was interesting. I experienced my first ever prank call at work. Let me just set the scene. It's roughly about midnight. I'm standing at the counter at the gas station that I work in, and the phone rings. And of course I do my whole little spiel. Hello, thank you for calling the gas station. This is Elias. How may I help you? The caller sounded very young, like a young girl. I would be willing to say maybe 14 at best. Struggling to hold herself together, I kid you not, asks if I take it in the butt. Now, I did not entertain the question at all whatsoever. I just hung up. But why is it that I think of a witty comeback just moments later. Because the witty comeback that I thought of after the fact was, "Isn't it past your bedtime, small child?"
Do people just not care that aliens are real, or am I missing something?
Patrick, I love you, but at this point, that sort of news gets the same reaction out of me as any sort of news I hear about Donald Trump nowadays, or mass shootings. Of course. Part of me is curious, like, do they want to probe us? Do they want to dissect us? Do they want to study us? Have they been studying us? Do they like us? Do they not like us? Do we annoy them? Like, I want some information. Would they abduct us and just be like, "Behold, we have harvested a specimen from the distant planet known as Earth"? What do they look like? I would like to know. Heck, even if we were to be hit with, like, a full-scale alien invasion, I would just be like, "Okay, we're doing this now. Let's see how it goes." But at this moment in present, nobody else is really talking about this because there are a lot more pressing matters going on. Just speaking for myself, I find the concept of coming in contact with an alien race fascinating. But it's not at the forefront of what the world is currently concerned about.
This is a jar of dirt.
Yes.
Is the jar of dirt going to help?
If you don't want it, give it back.
Huh.
Then it helps.
Okay, so I saw this filter and I had to give it a try, so... What the fuck did I do? I ain't never seen that much money before in my life! I just saw a comment that had me rolling. It was on Facebook and it was of a video of a guy cooking a medium rare steak. And the comment went something along the lines of, "Why do y'all like your meat still bleeding and mooing and shit?" To which I responded as such. Listen to me. If it's cooked anywhere past medium, us carnivores get mad. If it's got the likeness of shoe leather, straight to prison. Straight to prison. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go straight to cooking jail. Why, yes, I am very particular about my steaks. Aren't we all?
Naturwissenschaften.
Yes, because saying the correct word for ambulance auf Deutsch, Krankenwagen, was an absolute impossibility, wasn't it? For the record, I know he made that video as a funny joke, but the actual word that he used for that joke was the word for natural sciences. If you try to call for science instead of an ambulance, you might be in a little bit of trouble.
We don't put our Halloween decorations up in August.
Then stop putting your Christmas shit up in October. Goes both ways, bruh. Goes both ways.
Why no masculine man wants an alpha female?
You know what? Two can play at this game. Now, for the record, I am trans, I identify as male, but biologically, I am female. But two could still play at this game. For the record, I am not on any form of hormone therapy, so this is my actual voice. Whether I was trans or otherwise would not change that fact. I'm also one of those AFAB people that just so happens to have a more masculine facial and body structure. That's just genetics. There's no changing that whatsoever. And my guess is that you're the type of man that believes that a woman's place is barefoot pregnant in the kitchen tending to the house. Fucking bet. Have fun paying the bills. Have fun funding the groceries. I'm one of those rare people that actually likes grocery shopping. What, you mean you actually want me to stay home and tend to the house and the food? I'm down for that. That's my daily life, working nights at the gas station. Yes, I work nights. But let me tell you something. I become extremely protective of the places I clean. Meaning you muck up my floors? Oh, you're gonna hear about it. You funkify my bathrooms, you're gonna hear about it. You leave my kitchen a disorganized mess, oh, you are going to hear about it. And have fun working 12 plus hours to support the both of us, plus any kids that we might have, because that's what you'd be doing. And you're talking about how an alpha female is intimidating. I intimidate people without even trying because I'm nearly 6 feet tall. And again, that's something I can't help. I was brought up being taught how to take care of myself. I was taught by my own father to take care of myself and know how to take care of myself before I try to take care of other people. My parents raised me to be independent, and I'm willing to bet most women of my generation were raised the exact same way. And all this talk about, oh, no guy wants an alpha female. Fucking bet. There are plenty of guys who think all the traits you listed are sexy as hell. Why do you think so many male gamers were going off the wall insane for Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil Village? There are plenty of men who like a tall-ass woman that looks like she could crush them with her thighs.